Hello, everybody. This is Hidden Angel Lionheart coming to you live again from my home. In today's video, this is actually a very special tutorial dash explan explanational video for my friend who's in the same guild as me. Oh, he's actually top left corner. Uh, Jinxoak, if that's his correct name. Yes, as I had told him earlier that I would do a video for him because he was asking me questions as to proper gear setup and everything. But as you guys can see, he has like campaign gear and so forth and so forth. He has decent astrals, and I highly recommended him to take out the health astral for a goddess blessing because goddess blessing is a must for knight if you're gonna be a tank. That's like high necessity. You always need goddess blessing if you're gonna be a tank knight. So anyway, but then again, the knight is a tank class, but any class can tank if you know what you're doing. So anyway, this is going to be a very special explanational video as to proper gear setup, so forth, so forth. And I think I'm just gonna get right to it. So anyway, there's three different types of gear you can use throughout the game. One is as you're starting out, you're gonna be start out with the campaign gear, which is pretty much just campaign drops. Like let's see, like this small stuff here, the Mandorian's pendant. As you can see, all it has is stats, but it's not a setup to where you get bonuses. Now, the gear that you mainly want to look for is what has bonus stats to it, not the not the main green stats. As you can see, it just says a crit plus 69 level 3, where it's the green stats you're looking for, where it says like how I have the sage staff, hat, robe, and brooch. It gave If you have two pieces, it gives plus 500 additional damage. Then if you have the full set, you gain 10 additional rage points. And then, of course, the gold engraving is the invocation stats, but that's irrelevant. So anyway, what you're looking for is either crafted gear or arena gear, and those are the two main ones you usually want to main for depending how you want your setup. Now he's 68 and he's still trying to farm for his wyvern gear for 60s, I think it is, for knights. And he's trying to camp 60s to build his BR up some more, and I even recommended to both not only him but his in-game white Vera, but I guess they're a couple in real life, and she helps him out as much as she can to what she learns and knows. So I even told him, hey, if you need help, I'll just let you know. Okay, so um, everybody here now knows they're on YouTube. Anyway, irrelevant again. So right here, I'm just gonna give an example for Arena Shop. Here you can get the medallions. Of course, the more you rank up your honor and so forth. But levels 35 to 55, you can get the special arena gear. Now it has a plot. It's got a 4 set bonus, but it goes to 2, 3, and then 4. Getting the full 4 is probably the better idea, but getting the 3 is decent, but you need the 4 to get the full benefit. And it goes from 35 to 45 and then 55, and then after that you are getting legendary materials for like 60s gear, or like 50s gear, 60s gear, 70s gear, and 80s legendary set you have to get from Catacombs. Unfortunately, they do not have 80 sets in the arena shop, which does kind of suck in my opinion. However, again, irrelevant. But as I said, and also if you're starting out in the game and you have no idea what you're doing for crafted set, or you just have no patience and you just want to use a crafted set, or you just want to use an arena set, which I would recommend if you're just a starting player and you don't do much of the battlegrounds or just like cross server events. So, as I said, arena gear is actually really not too bad because you have two sets to it. You have endurance gain, and then you have the three sets you gain. You immediately always start out with plus 30 rage, plus the rage you get from your clothes. So add your clothing up to what you have with the arena gear. So that's like a plus 30 always, always, always. And especially again, if you have clothing. So right now, and also for the fourth, you also get pierce damage, which to where you can ignore a certain defense. Like if you're a mage, of course, you're gonna be bypassing magic defense to certain classes, which is strongly good against knights because knights and mages are each other's Achilles heel and they are strongly weak against each other. However, archer is balanced out to where it has perfect block or defense against knights and mages. So that's just really hard on the mage class because it has to struggle against not only knight but also has to struggle against an archer. Again, the troll class. Um, so yes, I do highly recommend that you get all four pieces to your arena sets, whatever level you are, 35 to 55. But I would just also just camp your level, and mainly camping your level, you just don't want to gain XP at all. Oh boy. Oh my gosh, Carnage. Ah. Hi, Karn. Oh my gosh. Karn. No! Oh, and here's my buddy Elijah. He's really cool. That's my bro Karn. He's just trolling for the lulz, which is technically true because we were messaging each other on like Facebook and so forth. So, yeah, he's gonna do everything he can to try to get you guys laughing. Is pretty much what he's aiming for right now. So, so anyway, as I was talking about, go for if you're like in 50s or between 30s and 50s, I would strongly recommend to get the arena set because as I said, it's just going to be really hard to get crafted sets unless you have a full team together and where you got skeleton keys saved up, and then you can just like farm a nightmare dungeon key boss to where you're fighting yourself and you're getting legendary your leg stones and lloyds to craft your gear sets. And for 60s, the demon temple is really hard to get past too because it's really hard. So I do recommend if you are going to be going for gear sets and camping, I would do 50s. Highly recommend because of course you get your sylphs and everything else. So as I said, I do recommend that, and I hope you guys have a lot of freaking skeleton keys because like for each set of dungeons for 20 and up, 20s and up, it takes two keys each um boss spawn to get materials. For 30s dungeon, it's like three keys. 40s dungeon, 40 to 45 dungeon is like four keys a piece or each person, and then 50s you guys do the math. But then at 70s they don't have a key boss. So 70s gear is just the hardest to get in the game unless you have the guild shop maxed out to the point where you can just buy gear sets to where level 6 crystalloids you get 70s gear, level 5 crystalloids you get 60s gear, which is 250 contribution of your own guild or gold and investment. So if you guys are trying to get your stuff quickly and you're not like I say a lot, my bad, if you want to get your gear sets quicker, then I strongly advise you to not spend so much gold on astrals and so forth, and just go for the crystalloids in the shop, and then legendary stones. Like, if you guys are like, um, and there I go with the again. um, so yeah, just invest your gold to the point where you can just buy what you need, and there's no limit to how much you can get. So that's also another bonus, but it's just it takes a chunk of your gold, because for 60s, like, let me show you guys here if it'll show it or not. For 60s gear, you need, like, you can't really tell, but it's like you need 300 crystalloids, and then you need your ancient weapon materials from the catacombs you can get, or you can snag them from the mystery shop or auction shop from Cloud City, which is very rare to come across unless somebody actually gets it as a drop or something from when they do catacomb um blitz, which is very rare though. So you just always want to keep a lookout for that. And for advanced, you are going to need like 150 legendary stones, 15 of the legendary shards, and just, yeah, it's a lot of work. So altogether it's like 1200 legendary stones, and then just to make legendary gear, and for the main set it's like another 1200 crystalloids to make the full 60 sets. So it takes a while unless you do what I did and just camp 50s to the point where you can solo a nightmare 50s dungeon, or not 50s, 60s dungeon, and I had to camp the EMD nightmare level like 90 runs. Oh my gosh, that was a nightmare. Haha, nightmare dungeon, I made a pun. It was asinine, but well worth it to the point I got my full 60 sets, and then all you have to worry about is just getting the 2,000 crypt tokens for 60s rings and jewels. So again, not too bad. And then you also just have to worry about the tokens to where 1,500, or actually no, 3,000 crypt tokens a piece for the rings and jewelry. But if you wait for the certain events they do and shop, like during class wars or whatever, they'll sell legendary shards for a certain amount, so you can just buy that to the point where you don't have to spend so many crypt tokens in crypt shop. So that also helps you out, and you don't have to waste your insignia in the arena shop as well to get legendary materials. So that's also another way, but unless you don't cash, it's just going to be a lot harder. But if you cash a little bit, which I do highly recommend, unless you want to get your legendary shards instead of like waiting forever to get them in arena shop, because originally when this game first came out you had to wait months, I kid you not, months, to like almost a year to complete just one full set. I know it took like a year or two to make 70s sets, and it's extremely hard, and it was very tedious until sylphs came out, and it's just to the point where anybody can solo a dungeon now, no matter what your level. I mean, you can be a level, for example, you can have 400k BR at like level 70, or and you can easily solo a level 60 nightmare dungeon and make it look like child's play. But however, you need like half a mil battle rating just to solo a level 70 nightmare dungeon, which makes sense because the one boss in there is just extremely hard and very, very rough. If you guys had seen my solo video of my knight Sephra soloing that dungeon, you'll understand as to why that boss can be an absolute jerk sometimes. But anyway, she has flaws and weaknesses, etc., etc. Oh my gosh. Karn, I question you on a lot of levels, my friend. You are all on YouTube, by the way. Oh, and shout out to Ari, which is my brother Chivalry's wife, in-game spouse, and then my friend Yalia, which she's from the Philippines. So their time is like really way off from us. And of course, my buddy Elijah, my man. Yeah, man. All good. Okay, so anyway, that's pretty much the main thing for gear, and then you also have to. Oh shoot, that's like half the time I was actually aiming for. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make this quick. So anyway, if you guys can also remember refine, you also have to refine your gear to the point where you can get different stats, and that way your stuff can get a lot better. And for night, you basically want to aim for defense stats, endurance stats, block, defense, block, health, attack. Do not go for intellect because that's a mage thing. Do not do it. It's just I will probably shame you if I ever see anybody with that. I will shame you. I will not care. I will shame you. I will shame you. And then you also have to remember recycle, and of course recycling helps you get the materials you need to create the special crystals to refine your gear. So you always want to recycle what you get from campaign dash dungeon MPD drops. So that way your gear can get maxed out to their fullest stats. But I just wait till you have like a bunch of them, because refine gens take up a lot. The more you get better gear, it just costs a lot more. It's very, very costly, and it's very, very expensive. So again, save up on refine crystals to the point where you can pretty much get solid good stats within like 3 or 4 tries. Sometimes you're lucky on the first try. Once in a great while, I'm usually lucky on it. But here lucky lately lady luck is not in my favor. So hmm, moving on. So also here's the second thing I wanted to bring up was sylphs, and plus there's this little mechanic here that actually Jen did not know about this, and I'm actually going to show you guys, but I already finished my Sylph arena. So you see how they have their four main lineup? Now, when you hit challenge, you can just challenge whoever, but if you hit the change in the bottom left corner, you can keep going till you find somebody that's of your own strength. And you want to hit the get to the point where you can fight the person that gives the most points, and the higher the points, that you get better league, and the better league you get more self equipment materials, sepulchrum, and Mara too, I think. I cannot remember. Oh wait, every day you log in to here you get Mara. So as you can see, win points 147, lost points 53. So you usually want to find the ones that give the most, which is like 220 right now. And as you go up, it goes to 235, and then for like Diamond League is like trying to think here. Diamond League gives like 300 points or something for every win, but you have to make sure you get the win. So, as I was going to say, this is the change section to where you can keep changing till you find someone that's of your own self strength battle rating. So, and also I have Amazon Queen in right now as like a fill-in because I'm trying to get her leveled up to 64 before I start leveling again. But then again, raising BR, so XP is like my enemy, and I'm trying to gain as little as possible. However, I need to max out my talents so that way I'm not stunned as easily. So, anyway, my party strength is like 184, but if I were to take out my queen and put in. Crap. If I were to take out my queen and put in. Oh my gosh, that's the second time now. If I were to take out my queen and put in my iris, I'd be almost 200k self battle rating. So I'm actually doing not too bad. And plus, I'm trying to save up Sylph gear again to the point where I can start socketing for my Eve next, and then I'll go for either Iris or Amazon Queen for Sylph gear. So anyway, it's just going to be blue probably. I'm not even going to worry about getting their gear enchanted because it's, again, irrelevant and a lot waste of materials that I would need for when I make my Pan's gear into gold, which is going to be very hard. Again, the other two blue I need to make purple, and then I have to make all of his gear orange, so that way he's maxed out in stats and battle rating. So, again, yes. And also for Sylph types, if you're a knight or an archer, you want to go for either Iris, which is like a healing tank. She doesn't hit very well. However, she is very tanky if you know what you're doing. She's got strong magic defense, decent physical defense, but mainly she's a magic defensive tank. So if you're fighting somebody that's using like Apollo or Eve, she would be your best bet to use, but then you also have to pay attention to the resistance stats. So her electro resistance is not that good, so probably I would want to reconsider that. But if you're fighting somebody who's using a fire or another Iris, then go for it. Like, knock yourself out. But Iris plus Knight back in the day was actually the best combo because they were hard to kill, especially since you could heal yourself with a warm spring and then use Rain Dance, because those are the two main healing skills that Iris, Triton, and Poseidon can honestly use right now for the time being. So until they come up with a new like water skill that can like overtime heal, like which is probably never gonna happen. Um, yeah, keep dreaming. So Iris is the one, but I would recommend like if you just want to tank and heal, go for it just to troll people. And then you also have Eve here, who's like strictly heavy critical damage, and I would say go for her, but as I had said in my previous update video, she's too overly used, too broken. People abuse her way too freaking much, and it's just you get tired of seeing Eve in Battleground so much. It annoys me to the very core. So her resistance stats is decent against her own type, go figure. Water resist, fire resist, but the one she truly has a weakness to is wind. Again, as to why I have Pan, because wind is not seen very often, but it's the only way you can pretty much hit an electro user in best way. And then, of course, light, which is Apollo. Apollo is pretty much, it can hit and heal at the same time. So, and plus it does have overtime healing, I do believe, or it has a single heal. It's one or the other. But I know one of its skills is an overtime heal. But if you're a knight, go for either Eve, Apollo, Iris, or Archer. Same thing. But Archer, strongly recommend Eve since she hits really hard for critical. So that's understandable for an Archer. But if you see knights and just mages using Eve, it's asinine. It's it annoys me very much seeing this Sylph anymore. I used to like Eve a lot, and then until I started seeing everybody's just using it, it's like there's no like generic, if that's the word I'm looking for. I don't know, but yeah. So then there's that, and then if you're like a mage like I am, you want a physical based Sylph because each of these Sylphs are type based and physical builds like archer, knight, etc., etc. You want magic based like Eve, Iris, and Apollo, light, electro, and water sylphs. And then for mage, of course, you want a physical sylph because if you have the same ones, for when you like go 80 class advance, you're able to evolve yourself, and then you have to fight the two bosses you have to kill at the same time. So if you have like a magic based tune, like a mage mixed with another like Zeus, then you can't clear that dungeon. So this is why even I figured this out later on, but not till I like got into the game more because I was still getting back into it and learning this stuff. You want an opposite type, sylph type, as you are that class. But of course, I learned the hard way, unfortunately. But hey, I learned my lesson. So, for mage, you either want Pan, of course, but that's just my strong recommendation since it can hit hard against Electro Sylphs. And it has decent at least mine has decent resist against Electro Sylphs. So either Pan, because of course he does hit pretty decently hard. That did not make any sense. But anyway, he's mainly a block based sylph to where he's a tank, and of course, Breath Shield is his one passive to the point where every chance and it reduces the damage by 10%, 35% chance. So, which is not bad. And then he also has the Master of Wind, which when you are hit by a critical attack, it raises your block rate by 10%. So he's really good to have if you're going for a block tank mage, which is what I technically am, a critical tank block mage. So it's actually really good, really decent, and I strongly recommend it to you. But then again, it's to whatever your own liking. Not everybody likes wind, not everybody likes like the other sylphs, like I was saying. But you have to be very specific and to the point with your opposite like type of attack sylph. So that way you're not screwing yourself over in the long run if you do decide to class advance and then you're like, oh hey, there's these two bosses. You're like, why can't I kill this other one? Oh wait, it's my opposite half. Durr. So again, you're screwing yourself over. So anyway, go always go for the opposite self. So anyway, Pan, great. But then again, and then there's Amazon Queen here, which she's the main fire self, and mainly what she can do is burn damage to the point where she can do a like consuming flames and firestorm are the main two skills you want for her. Because they're overtime abilities, and one is a single shot overtime, and then the other one is an AoE that hits everything that's overtime and hits really hard too. So that's also another reason why people always go for Amazon Queen, because she hits hard and plus she has overtime damage and the effects linger. And she also has the one passive to where when you hit her or you hit the person, there's a 10% chance it can put a shield up to the point where it absorbs damage. So that's another reason why a lot of people like her. And then, of course, Hades is a mage's best friend, and also Amazon Queen, and is also really good for hitting hard. But anyway, Hades is a lot better because one, it can drain health. Two, it can steal health to make you gain health. Again, drain. And then it also can give some overtime effects, but the overtime effects is really stupid in my opinion. And it can also do certain attacks to where it can cut off healing skills. So again, if you're a mage and you can cash crazy amounts to get Hades, go for it. Go ahead, waste like your whole paycheck just so you have the best mage on your server. And the best part is you don't even have to be 70 to use it. You have to be 50, but you have to be 55 to transform into Hades. That is the only downfall. But then again, that's every downfall to every sylph. So then again, and last thing I wanted to bring up was God cores now, because a lot of not a lot of people, but Jen was also asking me for God core specific, and I do not have much time. So anyway, the Buzz Astral or not Astrals, the Buzz God cores pretty much are all stat based. So of course, physical defense, magic defense, physical attack, health, and then eternal notion. This is the one I strongly recommend, and I have mentioned in the videos before. This one actually boosts your BR by like 10, 20,000 because of what it can do. It can raise your magic and physical defense while in Sylph form by 300 every time. So the more you level it up, it increases by 300 each time. And for the buzzes, it actually increases by 202. But if you are wanting to be very specific, the main notion I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend is Eternal. Do not go for anything else, as I mean, it's like kind of irrelevant. But unless you can find a way to bypass it, because one is you're able to gain plus 300 intelligence to where you can go past the person's magic defense based on your own intelligence. And then we have the one that's physical, which is like a physical pierce. And then Notion Novus is when you're pretty much gaining 600 extra health, which also increases your BR by 10 to 20,000. But again, it is irrelevant, so do not use it. Okay, I do not have much time left. And do not go for any of these other ones. It's just, again, as I said, these other ones are like not a good idea unless you're wanting to be a crit based, of course, crit damage. Again, if you're using Eve, you want to go for the ones that say something for critical. And of course, you also go for the one that affects certain skills, but unless you don't use those skills, then the Mirage ones are inaccurate and ineffective. So anyway, this is the video tutorial to gear setup in Sylph. Jen, I also shout out to you, brother. And thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. Was I good? Was I not good? Is there anything else you want me to do explaining you guys to the game? So anyway, this is Purifier from Server 91 US East, Wartune Hall of Heroes for mobile devices. Thank you again, and have a safe, be safe. Later, y'all.